All right, thank you so much for joining. Um, Thank you. Share the live. Let's people join. In less than a minute or two, we're going to get started. Um, Take a moment to share this link with someone while we prepare to get started. All right, so we're getting started now. Like I said already, take out this moment to share this link to someone. Let someone know that you're here. Don't just enjoy the content alone. Let someone know that you're here. And it's very simple. The name of this channel is at Chuks, so it's very easy. youtube.com/@devchuks. Share it with someone. The link is also what you're using to watch right now, so do well to share it with someone. All right, let's get started. Today is 29th of March 2026. All right, let's go. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Dozie Chuku. It's a pleasure to have you right here on this stream together with me. And for the next 60 minutes, we're going to be talking about something very interesting, something very relatable, and I'm sure that's why you're here. And we're going to be talking about a topic which you probably already know about, and this topic called the beast of burden. All right, the beast of burden. And in order for us to enjoy this topic, and in order for us to relate with this topic very well, we are going to be visiting the farm tonight. There's going to be a lot of conversations around an actual farm tonight. All right, and that is so that you can understand the concept of the topic we are going to be talking about today. All right, now it's a 3-letter word that you need to pay attention to, and that's the 3-letter word called the beast of burden. 3 important words: beast of burden. So let's get started. Have you ever felt like the weight you're carrying in life is not really yours? Like, all these things I'm doing, am I really doing it for myself? Like, have you ever had that feeling of being overwhelmed and looking at it and like, well, this thing that is even overwhelming me is not really mine? Anyways, it's time for us to go to the farm a little bit, so stay with me. I'm going to be giving a little bit of analogy, and so it's important that you understand the train of thoughts. If you're just joining, the topic we are focusing on today is a topic called the beast of burden. All right, the beast of burden, and the subtopic is when strength becomes a silent burden. So just in case you're just joining, this is the topic we're handling today, the beast of burden. And just so you know, we are going to be handling, I'll always be here on Sundays, 8 p.m. So Hopefully you're going to see me for a long time consistently around this time online. All right, let's get started. In a farm, there are different kind of animals on a farm. In a standard farm, especially the ones that are into animal husbandry, there are different kind of animals that you will find on that farm. One of the animals you're going to find there, they are in different categories. So I'm going to mention the different categories. We have the poultry, the animals that basically have feathers. Some can fly, some can't really fly, but they have something in common, feathers. So under that category, we have the chickens, we have the ducks, we have the turkey, we have different animals. And then sometimes we have the pets still in the farm. That includes dogs, cats. I mean, in some places, even goats are there. I mean, if you're a Nigerian, you may not be able to relate with that too much because, I mean, when we see goat, we see asun. And so it's not in the category of pets at all. All right. And now there's another group of animals. Those ones, they are in the third category, and we call them the beast of burden. By the way, the poultry, they are also livestock, right? So, but there's another category called the beast of burden. Now, there are a couple of things I'm going to tell you about the beast of burden. Number one is that the beast of burdens in the farm, the animals that land in the category of the beast of burden, they are for consumption, just like every other animal in the farm. The livestock, the poultry, all of them, those ones are for consumption. Also, the beast of burden is for consumption. But of all the animals that are in the farm, there's only one category that actually helps the farmer to do any work at all. And that is the beast of burden. That's the only animal in the farm that does any form of work that actually supports the farmer. All right. And the farmer can also decide that, you see, well, I know you're helping me, but I mean, today I want to eat cow meat. So come on, climb the slaughter table. And so under this category, we have the ox, we have the cow, we have the bulls. I think oxen and ox are the same thing. I think it's just singular and plural, right? So 4 things I want to tell you about the beast of burden. They carry load. Anything that has to do with heavy weights, they are always there. And so they can be pulling things like plow used for creating ridges. I mean, I don't know how popular those things are now, but as when I learned about these animals in primary school, we had pictures. It's an animal like an ox can be pulling a very heavy, it's almost the size of a tree, shaped like a ridge, and it's pulling it, and that wood is dragging through the sand and it's moving the sand this way. All right, so it forms a ridge on this side, forms a ridge on the other side. Say the farmer is planting things like yam, potato, and all of that, or the farmer wants to transport other livestock to the market. The beast of burden is also responsible for doing that long walk. All right. Another thing is that the beast of burden walks constantly. It's always walking. It's always walking. Always. While other animals wake up in the morning, eat, and probably just lie down waiting for the next meal, the beast of burden probably doesn't eat and starts going through the farm, creating ridges, or going to the market to deliver a lot of items from the farm to the market. And so the beast of burden is always working. All right. The beast of burden is also reliable. That's another thing you need to know about the beast of burden. It's reliable. All right. I think the last part I want to add is that nobody really checks on the beast of burden. The farmer doesn't wake up one day and say, this ox, you're not really behaving well. Are you okay? Nobody ever does that. The only day the farmer remembers the ox or the cow or the bull is the day the farmer attaches the heavy equipment that that animal is going to pull and the animal is not moving. And that's the day the farmer will start looking for antibiotics or whatever, depending on what the issue with the animal is. Nobody really cares about the beast of burden, even if the beast of burden is the animal that does a lot of work. The farmer is usually very cruel to the beast of burden. And that's why, no matter the amount of work a beast of burden is doing, the farmer is still following it with a cane. And so you're not moving fast enough, bro. Move. So the beast of burden is just a victim of anything hard labor. And there's one sad part. In the Bible, God had to give Israelites a command that do not muzzle an ox while it's walking. And in case you don't know what muzzling an ox means, it means that when this animal is probably dragging a harvester or a harvester through the farm, obviously the harvester is like also another equipment that is heavy, and they drag it through the farm, and it is harvesting what has been planted so far, right? The beast of burden, or the ox in this case, can decide to be eating some of the fruits that have fallen on the ground from what is harvesting. And so what do some farmers do? They tie the mouth of the ox so that this ox cannot eat anything that falls to the ground. And so it got to a point where even God had to give a commandment that do not muzzle an ox. I know that in today's day and age, we can relate that to even human labor, right? Let people be able to eat from where they are sowing. But that was a literal commandment that was given to Israelites in their day and age. And what I'm trying to bring out from there is that although the beast of burden is working so hard, the farmer doesn't expect it to even benefit directly from what it's doing. All right. Now, I've laid the foundation for this topic, and every other thing we are going to say is going to rest on this. And so now you understand what a beast of burden is. Now you understand the role of a beast of burden. Now you understand the reaction of even the farmer to the beast of burden. Remove animal from everything I've said and put the word person. There are people in this life that do so much for people, but nobody ever appreciates them. You only know that this person, in fact, the day they are going to call you on the phone is because you have not fulfilled one promise that you made. It doesn't matter how many promises you have fulfilled. That's one that you have not fulfilled. That's the day you get a phone call from whoever is involved. And I'm not telling you imaginations of my head, even if most times I can come up with imaginations, but this thing I'm telling you is not imaginations. These are things that, number one, I've heard, number two, I've seen, that somebody can be doing so much and yet still be unappreciated and still be unrewarded. I did not say feel unappreciated. I said they are unappreciated and unrewarded. And so it's very important that by the end of this topic, you're able to look at yourself, look at the people around you, people close by and people far away, and genuinely answer the question, am I a beast of burden? And if the answer to the question is yes, you have to answer the second question. To what sorry that I'm laughing. To what extent am I a beast of burden? To what extent? And this is a question you don't have to rush the answer. It's something you have to genuinely think about. So please, if you can hear me and if my sound is coming out well, please just like drop a message so I can know that you're actually hearing me. And all right, to what extent am I a beast of burden? It's very important that you're able to answer this question genuinely. And now this is how being a beast of burden usually starts for human beings, right? You help once, all right? And then you help a second time. And you help the third time. And before you know, in this situation you were helping with, or this person you were helping, now expects you to help every single time as a duty. Like, it is now a duty. And I like to give this example. Imagine what happens when you employ a gate man for the first time. The guy's work is to open the gate and close the gate. That's his job. Open the gates when someone comes in or when somebody is going out, and close it behind you. That's all. But then his boss comes out one day and says, look at this grass here. I know it's not part of your work, but it doesn't look so good. Can you just trim it a bit? And the guy does it. It's not part of his work. Oh. I want you to understand that it's not part of his work. And then 2 weeks later, the boss comes out again and say, see the way leaves have fallen everywhere. Just sweep them one side. You don't have to pack it. Just sweep it one side. You don't have to pack it. Just sweep it one side. And now, one day, what's going to happen? The boss is going to come out and say, are you not seeing this place that is scattered like this? Why have you not swept it? And gradually, that thing that started like, oh, just help me do this, just help me do that, it's now your job. And the day you say, but this is not actually part of my job, you say, why didn't you say it from the beginning? Or better still, they fire you and look for somebody else. All right? And so this is something that it doesn't just happen. So like, it doesn't just happen one day. Boom. That's what I'm trying to explain. It doesn't happen one day. It's a gradual process. You don't just become a beast of burden one day. It's a gradual process. One day you just wake up and find out that, wow, I'm overwhelmed. But you may not even be able to spot the reason why you're overwhelmed. Just like the beast of burden in the farm that I told you about. Initially, when that ox or cow or bull is growing up, it may share the weight. It may share the weight with another bull. So they will connect them with a yoke and then they pull it together. So it's not that heavy. But gradually, as the bull gets bigger, they separate it and you go alone. So it's a difficult phase to find yourself. And because it's something that happens gradually over time, most times it's difficult to pull out of, because you're now asking yourself, okay, how do I stop it now? Like, how do I pull out of this? Right? The day you prove that you can handle everything, that's the day people will stop asking you, can you do this? They will just, oh, I thought you were going to do it. Shay, I thought you would do it normally. Like, nobody is now asking you again, like, can you? It's now part of it. And so there are two types of burdens that you find yourself carrying. Number one is the burden that comes from purpose. This kind of burden is a good kind of burden. It's a burden that comes because you have realized your purpose in life. And so whatever comes with that, your purpose, whatever burden comes from you trying to fulfill your purpose in life, is a good burden. And the reason why it's a good burden is that it comes with grace. It builds you in terms of capacity, and obviously it aligns with your calling. I'll give you a good example. If someone works for me now and I need the person to go and get something from the market, and hopefully I give the person the money the person needs to get that thing from the market, it means that all the person needs to do is to go to the market. They don't have to think of, okay, where do I get the money from? Because the purpose for them going to that market is to fulfill what I've sent them to do. In this case, me being God, is to fulfill what I've sent them to do. And so the resources they need to do that thing I've sent them to do, I provide it. And so the stress is not there on them totally. They still have to go to the market, which can be a kind of burden, but it's not as much as the second kind of burden that I'm about to talk about. And that's why the Bible says, take my yoke. Yoke there could also mean burden. Take my own yoke. It is light. And so you need to understand that you're not going to live a life free of burden. It's always going to be there, but the kind of burden you carry determines how peaceful or how coordinated your life is going to be. The second kind of burden, which is the negative kind, is this self-imposed burden, the one that comes from pressure, the one that you take up on yourself. And this one is bad because it leads to guilt. It comes from people pleasing, and obviously it comes from fear of disappointing. Somebody has asked you to do something, and in all honesty, you know that for you to do this, you need to stay awake for 2 days straight. You won't sleep for 2 days just to accomplish this one thing. But now, because you're afraid of disappointing this person, you say, the person asks you, can you do it? And that's a trick question most times, because some people ask you, can you do it? And they don't even expect you to say no. They just want you to say yes. So when you say no, and they can become even offended. I've made a video in the past on you being able to say no. You see, because if you lack the ability to say no, you have set yourself up for a life of burden. If you lack the ability to say no, you have set yourself up for a life of burden. And so if you find yourself, you're always trying to please people, you don't want to offend people, you don't want to, hey, if I say this thing now, how will he feel? How will she feel? Does she have any other option? If I don't help her now, who is going to help her? You say all these things, and before you know, you cannot be everything to everybody. You cannot be everything to everybody. You cannot be. And you need to understand that I don't know if you can hear me, but you need to understand that sometimes the best thing you can do, the best way to help people sometimes is to take care of yourself. You need to understand that sometimes the best thing you can do, sorry, my video is out for a while, but we can't stop. The best thing you can do is to, please, if you can still hear me, just let me know in the chats. Let me know in the chats. Yeah, the best thing you can do is to take care of yourself. And why that sounds very selfish, I'm going to tell you for a fact that I've seen situations where someone was paying scholarships for people, training many people in school. And so what happened? The people they are training in school, more load is added, and this person is literally struggling emotionally, not even financially, because financially the money is there. And so the person is struggling with their health and all of this because probably they are not sleeping, they are getting a lot of calls, and they are going through all these things. And what is happening? Gradually their health starts deteriorating. I'm telling you for a fact that it is part of caring for people for you to care for yourself. Because if you don't care for yourself, there is a high chance now that person that is paying 30 people's school fees is also trying to solve issues here and there. And so over time, this person unfortunately doesn't make it beyond a certain age and all of that. And so what happens? Everybody that you are taking care of, everybody that you are paying school fees for, can no longer benefit from that help. So if you're not alive, how are you going to help people? If you're not alive, how can you help people? So you need to understand that part of helping people could also mean taking care of you. All right, now we're going to go into a very important section of this. You need to understand, first of all, before we talk about this, that not every burden is yours. You cannot, anybody that comes to you and tells you that you're their last hope, I mean, don't believe that. Don't believe that. I know people personally. I'm not telling you stories I've heard online or anything like that. I know people personally that people told them while they were alive that, see, if you don't pay these school fees, there's nothing I can do again. But guess what? Nobody's life ever stops because somebody disappeared. Nobody's life ever stops because anybody died. No matter how important anybody is, if you die today, every other person that depended on you, life may be a bit harder for them, but they are going to survive. So you must find a place in your heart to understand this, that you cannot carry every burden that comes your way, even if you have the capability to do that. All right, now let's talk about the dangers. The dangers of being a burden bearer as a human being. Please, I'm not saying you shouldn't care for people, right? I'm not saying you shouldn't care for people. By all means, please care for people. I'm not saying you shouldn't care for people. Please, by all means, care. Something like that. When it hits you, it has hit you. And so you have to also understand that that's something that has a tendency of happening. That's something that has a tendency of happening when you keep bearing weight. Even Jesus Christ, the Bible says Jesus wakes up early in the morning to go and pray. It means that the person who created you with all his supernatural strength was able to take out time and sleep. That's why he wakes up in the morning, because if you cannot wake up if you are not sleeping. He wakes up in the morning to go separate and go and pray. Even Jesus was sleeping. Who are you that you will not sleep? Who are you that you will not sleep? Number two is that it can bring about resentment. And resentment is something that it doesn't hit right away. It comes gradually. If you cannot help somebody, tell them you cannot help them. Don't be playing the role of superhero. Meanwhile, you're really struggling to play that role. And then when you struggle and struggle and struggle, and the person doesn't seem to be recognizing that you're going through a lot to just solve this particular stuff for them, you become resentful gradually and gradually, and before you know, you don't want to see their faces again, because you're carrying too much load. All right, another thing it leads to is emotional exhaustion. You're going to be exhausted emotionally, and so because of that, you find yourself lashing out more often. Things that probably won't offend you before, you find them easily offending you. Easily, like you can't stay 1 hour interacting with people without getting offended by somebody. So things that normally won't offend you, you find them offending you. And then obviously, once you get to the point where you are now emotionally exhausted, the next step is that you lose yourself. Now that's the fourth point. You lose yourself. And losing yourself always comes when you eventually wake up one day and decide to look at yourself in the mirror. And you say, where is this happy young man that was always very hopeful about life and all of that? It's when you're carrying a whole lot of load. And so you lose yourself in the process. And this is one question you can ask in order to know whether you're losing yourself or not. Is to ask yourself, if I ask you now to tell me about Mr. A, you can tell me everything about the person, because probably you're helping the person. You already know a whole lot of things about this person. But then you tell me about Sister B. You can tell me everything in details, like you have all the information about this person. But then, if I ask you the third question, tell me about yourself, you start stammering. I mean, it's not that you start saying things like it's not that serious. Well, I mean, I'm easygoing. You're always easygoing because you're not taking out time to know yourself. You're always easygoing because you're not taking out time to know yourself. And the reason why you have not taken out time to know yourself is that you're taking care of a lot of people. You're handling burdens for a lot of people. And you've never really taken out time to look at yourself and say, okay, where do I need help? And the painful part about this whole thing is that almost everybody reaches out to the beast of burden for help. This person of burden, almost everybody reaches out to the person for help. But most times, and I'm saying this because a couple of times I've been in this situation, is that most times you that is playing the role of a burden bearer, you may not have anybody that you're able to reach out to when you have problems. So if nobody takes it upon themselves to ask you, how are you doing, and all of that, you find out that most times you can go 2 years, nobody knows that you have this issue or the other. Why? Because the role you're playing puts you on the constant giving out position. You never receive. You're always giving out. You're always giving out. Even Jesus, while he was on earth, at some point needed support from his disciples. Needed. He already knew he was going to die. Why did he need to call 3 disciples to go and pray with him? He already knew. And so you must understand that as a human being, we are social beings. Isolation is one thing that can kill you very fast. And because you are a person of burden, you find yourself in contact with many people, but those many people you are in contact with, you are just giving. You are not really receiving. And before you know, you don't understand why you're seeing life too seriously. You don't understand why you're seeing life as negative as you see it. Now, these are questions you need to ask yourself. Number 1, who checks up on me? These are questions, you don't have to answer them now, but just take out time and answer them when you have the time. Who checks up on me? Yes, if I tell you to list the people that you're checking up on, there are plenty. It's fine, but no problem. Beside that, write the list of people that you know that if they don't hear from you for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you're definitely going to get a phone call. There's something I do once in a while. I intentionally stay away from social media for a while. I don't make any posts. I don't post even on WhatsApp status. And I intentionally do it to try to gauge. Yes, I know that maybe I'm impactful to people, but are people really going to notice your absence? I'm not doing it so that I will now call this person and say, oh, you see, I was away for 2 weeks. You not even check up on me or anything like that. No, that's not why I'm doing it. The reason I'm doing it is to remind myself that all the good things you are doing or anything you are doing will not be possible if you no longer exist. And so it's a reminder to refocus your energy on yourself, even as you're taking care of people. And you can see it when Jesus did it with the alabaster box. When Jesus went to the house of Simon funny enough, that was the scripture I read this morning, coincidentally. When Jesus went to the house of Simon and a known prostitute in the city came and was washing Jesus' feet with her tears and then broke an expensive bottle of perfume and used it to wash his feet. And then people started complaining, hi, this thing now that you just wasted on his leg, would have used it to help the poor, would have used it to do this, would have used it to do that. You know, and Jesus said, don't worry, the poor people, they'll always be there with you. Please, allow me. And so it's very important that you understand this thing. You cannot be, yes, it's good to be serious about life, it's good to be this, it's good, but when you after a while, calm down, pay attention to yourself too. All right. And of course, the next question I want you to ask yourself is, when last were you able to rest without feeling guilty about it? You know that time when you know that this person is calling you because they need your help, but you too, you need help, you want to sleep, you are tired, you are even broke. And they're asking you for money. Will you kill yourself? But guess what? You're still going to be feeling guilty that you were not able to help this person. You're still going to be feeling guilty that you were not able to help this person. Somebody reached out to me one time, and what was the issue? This person was owing some of these loan apps money. And obviously, when I'm talking with people in that kind of situation, I want to know what exactly. I want to know what you use the money for. Right? And it turned out that this person went to the loan apps to collect money because they needed to give part of the money to a close family member. The person didn't want to go into details to tell me, okay, what they use the money for and all of that. Right? But this close family member that you gave the money to is of age. So I was asking, why didn't this close family member go to the loan apps directly? Why did you have to be the one that goes to the loan app to collect the money to give to? And just for context, the close family member wasn't the person's father or mother. It was a sibling. And so it's something I cannot understand. Don't be too nice to the point where you stretch yourself thin, like you stretch yourself thin. I'm telling you now, if nobody has told you, people are going to be fine in your absence. Do what you can. Let the Holy Spirit do the rest. Do what you can. If we could do everything by ourselves, Jesus will not need to send a helper. There's a reason why they could give the Holy Spirit any other name. But the name that Jesus decided to call the Holy Spirit was Helper. Don't stress yourself thin in order to make sure that everybody is okay. So you set yourself ablaze in order to keep everybody warm. I'm not trying to preach to you to become self-centered. I'm saying that there should be balance. That's what I'm saying. There should be balance. You have to balance it out. And then this is the third question you have to ask yourself. When I am not solving problems, who am I? And so there are some people that they have lived their life so much trying to solve problems that any season of their life where they are not solving a problem for somebody, they can even fall sick. Because at that point, it's almost like, what am I even doing? There's nothing to do. And so 3 questions. I said, number 1, who checks up on you? Number 2 is, when was the last time you were able to rest without feeling guilty? And number 3, who are you when you are not solving problems? If you can answer these 3 questions genuinely, at the end of this night, you'll be able to tell yourself if you are a beast of burden or not. Now, like I said, I'm not trying to tell you to live a very selfish lifestyle. I'm just saying you should balance it. And so the next thing we are going to talk about is truths and balance. And the first one is helping is good. It's a good thing that you help. You know, Jesus gave a parable of saying some people are going to come into the kingdom of God on the last day, and God is going to tell them, oh, come in. When I was in hospital, you came to see me. When I was in prison, you came to see me. When I was naked, you gave me clothes. When I was hungry, you gave me food. And you'll be asking yourself, when did I feed you? Like, maybe I've not seen you in person before. Like, when did I feed you? You know? And the response is, as long as you do it to somebody, the least among you, you have done it to me. And so helping is good. That's a truth. I'm not disputing that. It is clear. Helping is good. The next thing is disappearing is not. It's not good to disappear. And this is where you must learn communication. There are people now that you have not read their messages for 2 weeks because you know that what's in that message is whether you can borrow them money or not. You must learn to tell people, oh, as it did my body now, I cannot give you that money. So that they know they are not there waiting for you to respond, thinking that you have not seen the message or anything. Don't disappear on them. Just tell them. Don't disappear. Tell them. To be honest, the more straightforward you are with your responses about not being able to help people when genuinely you can't help them, the more peace you are going to have. Somebody has reached out to me for financial help before, and I told the person I can't. But before I slept and woke up the next day, somehow I got money, and so I reached out back to the person and said, Alpha, how much do you say you need again? Don't try to, because you don't want to disappoint people. Remember what I talked about at the beginning. You don't want to disappoint people, so you're afraid of telling them, Omo, this thing you're asking me for, I can't do it now. Can we do it later? Because if you cannot tell people no when genuinely you can't say the no, then you're setting yourself up. You're setting yourself up. Now, the last truth and balance I'm going to talk about is strength is not equal to endless capacity. That you're strong enough to do something does not mean you should do it. That you're strong enough to do something does not mean that you should do it. Yes, as I am now, I can train 25 people in school. Does not mean you should do it. Don't stress yourself to the limit. Don't stress yourself to the breaking point, where you are now living on the edge. If anything shake like this, you and the other people you're helping, all of you will now collectively need help together. That you have strength to do something does not mean you have the endless capacity to do it. It doesn't mean you should do it. And that's where balance comes in. Now let's do a little bit of reflection, right? Let's think about this together. Number one, you're going to ask yourself, if you want to answer it yourself, that's fine. But ask yourself, what is that load that I'm carrying that is not mine? I'm not saying you should drop it, I just say you should ask yourself, what's that load I'm carrying that is not mine? If you can identify it, start from there. Remember last week we talked about the ability to solve problems starts with you being able to identify the problem. So what am I carrying that is not mine? Number two is, what can I release? Of all the load that I'm carrying right now, which one is not so demanding? Which one is not so important? Which one can I drop off and carry what is important? All right. And then, of course, the last one you're going to ask is, think about this. Where do I need boundaries? There must be boundaries. If you're going to survive this life, your life must be a life of structure. And structure can only come where there is boundary. If as a person you don't have boundaries, you're going to suffer a lot in this life. If as a human being you don't have boundaries, so you as a person, you must be able to draw it up and say, okay, any problem that is beyond this or more, I can't help you. I can't help you. Okay, anything below this, yes. And I'm not talking about financially. That's not the only, because help in our day and age has been boxed around finances. That's not the only area you can help people. You can help people emotionally. You can help people emotionally. So when I'm talking about help, I'm not just saying finances. It's not always about finances, but there must be boundaries. All right, you don't just have to say it, but just be honest. You don't have to, whatever situation you find yourself when it comes to setting boundaries when you want to help people. You don't have to make it very obvious to the person, but let it be something that you know within yourself that, okay, I can't cross this path, I can't go beyond this, I can't go beyond that. All right, it's very true that you're probably a very strong person, you are a capable person, you can do it. However, I want you to take this away as you're going away tonight. You cannot be everything to everybody. You cannot help everybody. You cannot help everybody. I know sometimes we don't want to hear this, especially when the people involved are people that are very close to us, but you cannot help everybody. You cannot help everybody. All right. Thank you so much for joining. It's been quite an insightful night, I believe. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. I said I was going to create an email address where I can let people send me questions and I'll reply directly. I've not created that email address yet, but you can drop a comment on this video, not in the live chat, in the actual video itself. And when I'm going through the review, I can always go back and respond to you directly. All right. If you want a personal response that doesn't have to be public, it's fine. But you understand what I'm saying. All right. So thank you so much. I'm going to be here same time every Sunday, 8 p.m. And we are going to be talking about topics from time to time that are very relatable. And some of them are also things that you may not even realize you have been going through. You may not realize that it's things that have been happening to you. All right. So thank you so much for joining. My name remains Dev Chuks. If you have stayed up to this point, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate. In case you've forgotten the topic for this night, which I doubt, remember it's beast of burden. It's beast of burden. God didn't call you to be everyone's solution. He has called you to be faithful to your own assignment. So please make sure that anything you're doing, you're not losing track of that. Thank you so much. Next week we're going to be handling on that topic. I don't want to mention it now because there are a couple of topics and I'm not really sure which one is going to win that race, but be sure that there's always something coming out from this channel that is going to be is going to edify your spirit. All right. Thank you so much. My name remains Chuks Dozie, and